Hey guys, it's Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we're going to be looking at this new Serpent Path event that has started today. It is a summoning and getting artifacts and accessories, so summoning and dungeon divers event. Now I will say there's not a big juicy thing to be getting from this Hero Path event. It is a bit of a filler event where it's almost like, well, we don't really know what to give you. We don't really have a soul because we're doing a Titan event. So we'll just put a path together that has Serpent Points. The big thing about this path is, of course, the Serpent Points. It is tying together with this new Titan event, which looks to be quite good if you don't have a Mithrala soul. I fortunately have a 5-star Mithrala soul, so for me, I'm almost like, I don't really want to do it. It's pretty good for a mythical skill tome as well. This sort of milestone 5 is very rewarding in terms of a premium reward. What I have noticed as well is they've put 6-star protection gear, but it's only 6 pieces and it's not accessory, so it's not the end of the world if you do Hydra quite regularly. There's a nice Immortal Soulstone for 570 points here. That's quite efficient, I would say. And yeah, there's lots of different things in here, so it's not a bad Titan event if you absolutely don't have a soul. Remember, at 5-star, the Mithrala will get 75 resistance and accuracy, which is effectively 150 resistance because of the way that she converts all of her accuracy to resistance. So it's actually quite a powerful 5-star upgrade, and 5-star is pretty good for the blessing itself, the bonus that the blessings give, which Mithrala is more likely to use because she doesn't do crazy amounts of damage. I've got mine in Temporal Chains. You could absolutely use something like Life Harvest. You could put it in like an Aura Lead as well. There's actually quite a lot of blessings that would be valuable for Mithrala. So that is what the path is going to be providing you, pretty much, is the Serpent Points. But there are some pretty good rewards. There's an Eternal Soulstone, 25 Essence, there's Mythical Tomes, there is an Avatar if that is what you really are into, so that's something to chase as well, but you do need the event keys. So, as always, what I tend to do with these things, I break down exactly how many points you need, how many shards is it going to require, and there's also a Google Sheet that you can use to offset your shards that you're going to need to summon in order to acquire these rewards. Just a quick note, there is no changes to the points table here. This is exactly how it's always been. They seem to be quite enjoying this summon with dungeon divers. They don't tend to do artifact enhancement anymore with these hero paths. I wonder if they think it's just too easy if a lot of people have hoarded silver. So if you've never seen me do one of these hero path breakdowns before, I always do it in 3 ways. I pull out all the individual rewards that you can get in the path so we can work out how many points it's going to take. And then I construct what I think are paths people are going to want to take out of those list of rewards. Then we put it into the calculations of Summon Rush and Dungeon Divers to work out, you know, what are the best stages to farm, how many points it's going to take, and then we do a bit of a summary analysis to basically work out how much is this event going to cost you so you can make a judgment call if it's worth doing. So we got all the points broken down here. I've kind of broken it down into 1 and 2 parts, which is the furthest left and the furthest right, and also got some bonus rewards and various different things. To be honest, I haven't put much value in the bonus rewards in this path. I've looked mostly on the capstone rewards and the Serpent Points. Yes, there's like little bits of chaos dust and various different things along the way. Like we got some rank rarity charms, there's a 5-star chicken, there's a mortal soulstone, there's some like different coins, but I'm pretty much looking at what do I need to get to the capstones and the Serpent Points. And that you can see is here. I've got a path that basically goes, do you just want to get like 100 of the 300? Typically with these events, they normally give you around about 250 points that you can skip, which means that there's always around about 3 summoning events of some kind in there. They normally replace a champion chase weekend and a summon rush weekend, and then there's normally like a 3rd way to get it in some form of summoning aspect. So you normally can't skip any of the summoning. That's generally the way it goes. Of the 1500 points, normally around about 1/3 of those points are tied behind some sort of hero summoning event. So that is something to keep in mind. That's why you see 300 here. There's probably going to be a 600, and there's probably going to be like 750 points, I would say, maybe 700 points in total from summoning events. So what you tend to want to look at is, if I skip 300, I'm almost saying I probably won't be able to skip anything else at all in the whole thing. In fact, because you can only skip 250, you have to do some of it. So if you want that 5-star Mithrala soul, you're going to have to engage with this event to begin with. But you might only want to do the 100 because the particular summoning event right now is not really good, or you don't have as many shards. Maybe you just want to like just grab 100 and basically only skip 50 other points. That's an option for you. So I've thought about that. For a lot of people, they'll want the 300 Serpent Points. So we got points for this. Some people might just want a legendary book, aren't looking to do the Serpent Point events at all. They just want to know how much it is to get a legendary book. Or some people might just want the mythical tomes because they need a lot of mythical champions booked. And the other person might want Eternal Soulstones. That's all they care about. So that you got the Soul Path, the Book Paths, and then the Serpent Point Paths. Those are the three that I've got here of various different point requirements. I will say the mythical books are quite expensive. So let's have a look at Summon Rush here. We've got the points broken down. You can see that if you just want the 100 points, it's going to cost you around about 3 Sacreds with a few extra. 3 Sacreds with a few extra. We've got Serpent Points here for the 300. It's going to cost you about 9 Sacred Shards or 23 Primals or 55 Voids. I will say now, Hero Paths are best done via Primals. If you translate sort of the price point over to this, I don't have it on this particular sheet, but normally when I compare the price points, if you were to like put a monetary value to it, the Hero Paths are more efficient on Primal Shards more than any other shard in terms of just raw quantity versus price. Obviously, acquiring Primal Shards is much harder, so that's a bit of a factor. If you're free to play, then you wouldn't go with Primal Shard route. If you're a spender, you would go the Primal Shard route. That's what I'm trying to say. It's about 9 for the Serpent. If you want a Legendary book, it's about 6, which kind of puts it on par with what a Summon Rush would be. You need normally about 5 or 6 Sacred Shards to be able to start getting Legendary books, so that's pretty okay. With Mythical Tomes, 13 Sacreds, very expensive. Like I said, Mythicals and the Eternal Soulstones, 11. I would not do it with Mysteries, and I would not do it with Ancient Shards. Although, I will say, 200 Ancient Shards is not too bad. I have seen a lot worse, 200 Ancient Shards, to be honest. That's not too bad. But generally, you're going to look at the sort of top end because it's more of a Summon Rush model. Now, in terms of Dungeon Divers, this is pretty straightforward. The way that we do this is we pull out the individual probabilities of getting each individual artifact across all the different stages. Like you can see, it's a 1.59% chance we'll get a 6-star mythical artifact. We then translate that into the points that you get at the top right. So for a 6-star mythical artifact, we would get 64 points. We divide that with this percentage, and that gives us, on average, 1 anniversary token, Serpent Points, whatever we want to call it, per run. And then we can translate the total average into an average per run, which then tells us, like naturally as you would imagine, the higher the stage, the better the individual averages are. But there's energy costs that go with this. So we take those points and then we divide it with the energy that you're going to be spending. And you can see that on average, the best stage is 16 or 20. Technically 16 is better, but you have to do significantly more runs. But you have to do significantly more runs than you would on 20, and also you're getting 4-star gear. So 20 is the one I always recommend. We always know this. Dungeon Divers, tournaments, the most efficient way to do it is 20. But if you want gear, 10 hard, right? Gear is all available in 10 hard. If you just want to be energy efficient on a dungeon and tournament point basis, stage 20 is the way to go. So what we can do is we can put this in an analysis window here. This is what really matters. How much is it going to cost me, and is it worth doing? And those are the two questions. Well, we know how much it's going to cost you. The question is it worth it? Well, from a summon shard rate, I think it's going to be probably based on the times 15 progressive event, whether you want those champions to begin with. But in terms of Dungeon Divers, what I've got here is a straight comparison. So we can see how much energy is it going to cost us. Well, if you want the 100 Serpent Points, you're looking at somewhere between 432 to 480 dungeon runs, depending if you're doing 10 hard or stage 20. This translates into, at a minimum, probably 7,680 energy to get just 100 Serpent Points. You will not do Dungeon Divers predominantly with this. You will do Summon Rushes, and you will top it up with Dungeon Divers. That is the way that it works. Now, in terms of like comparing it to a typical Divers, I've got like the 7,500 points for Dungeon Divers here. You can see that generally, to get 100 Serpent Points, it's going to cost you less than the average Dungeon Diver, but anything extra, these hero paths are always more expensive. They don't want you doing it via Dungeon Divers. They want you to summon, and they're giving you an alternative offset. So what I've built here is a quick calculator where you can go, well, say like I've got 2 Sacred Shards and 10 Ancients. Well, that's going to give me 12,000 points. How much more energy will I need to spend to finish off the points? It will offset it. You just pick the path you want. So if you're working towards the 300 Serpent Points, if you summon 2 Sacreds and 10 Ancients, then you're going to need still about 928 runs, which is about 14,000 energy still to get those. It's a very expensive. You're going to have to summon for it. You know, maybe you use 50 Ancients and 3 Sacreds. Now it's down to 6,400. But you can use this calculator. Just make a copy of it in your Google Sheets, and you can basically calculate how many shards you've got, and it will help you figure out what are the paths you want to take. So, in my opinion, would I do it? Well, let's talk about that right now. So the first thing I would suggest is looking at the current progressive event. We've got pretty good, okay, I would say okay-ish, right? Pedreig is the one that would stand out the most. He's the more recent one. He has this very cool passive that gives the buff to every single champion depending on their type. So if you're an attack-based champion, you get an increased attack. It's very good. It happens every single turn. And he's got an ally attack and a cleanse. So I would say out of all of these, he's the one that would probably be the most. But you might have him from the guaranteed. If you do have him from the guaranteed, then it's probably something like Bad L or with it. If you do have a Theodore, Calvalax is very good. And then from an epic pool, it's probably Rector unless you need these two for the Mikage. Ilfrig and Delaja are Mikage epics. If you're still after Mikage, that's who I would go for. And then from a sort of a Void point of view, definitely Dimithra if you don't have her because she unlocks Clan Boss. And then you've got a choice. I've seen a lot of people do wondrous things with Senna Amberheart in Finite Heart using this kind of continuous heal turn meter boosting concept. She will boost the turn meter of all allies when this continuous heals out. She places a lot herself, increased speed. She does create a lot of turns with this passive. It can be quite strong. Or you can go for Incenser, which has the Poison Cloud. That's the unique thing about Incenser. She's the only champion in the game that can place Poison Cloud. Can't extend it anymore. She's still pretty good though. AoE decreased defense and weaken. AoE decreased attack on the A1 plus an ally attack. You also get Poison Cloud increased speed, continuous heal, and a 50% turn meter fill on a single target. And you then get this passive as well. Whenever an enemy receives a buff, the turn meter is decreased, which is quite strong in the right area. Definitely someone I would suggest. Like for me, I would go that. I think it's more exciting than Senna, but I do think there's value in both of them. So your decision is it worth summoning those shards? Depending on those. I would say, personally, for me, because I have the Mithrala Soul, it's not. If you didn't have the Mithrala Soul, I would say definitely try to get the 100, and I would aim for the 300 if you could. If you are not doing the Serpent event, I don't think this Hero's Path is worth it, personally. I think it's pretty weak. That would be my decision. So, there you go, guys. The Hero Path breakdown, I will put the link in the description to the Google Sheet. You can use it as your own calculator so that you can plan ahead for the next sort of 3 to 4 days. It is going to last from now all the way through till Monday. It is the summoning event. It's going to replace any champion chase and summon rush. That is what we're going to get this weekend. And yeah, let me know in the comments below. Are you going to be doing this? Are you excited about any of these pulls? Let me know, and I will catch you in the next video.